You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another glorious episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Thursday. I am Brandon Olsen, the Florida Gators blue chip Billy got a three-piece last night. 3 commits to the 2025 and 2026 classes. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. And we're going to start with the first commit here, or not in order, but Demetres Samuel Jr. Okay, a 4-star safety that you flipped from Syracuse. He is a unanimous 4-star in the 2026 class, but we're starting with him because he will be reclassifying to the 2025 class for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you see the shades? You see the shades that we got on? Yeah, we're keeping them on. We're keeping them on the whole damn show. It's a good day. It's a great day to be a Florida Gator fan, Florida Gator student, Florida Gator football player, Florida Gator commit. You want to. Demetres Samuel Jr. plays at a Heritage. Like I said, a 2026 4-star that will be reclassifying to the 2025 class. Originally committed to Syracuse. This is something that really came together like this past weekend. We were told, hey, Florida going to land Demetres Samuel Jr. That was kind of the expectation at that point was, hey, he's going to be a Gator. 6'2", 180 pounds is what he's listed as. Obviously, you can hear that and go, he needs to gain weight. He is 3 inches taller than me and the same weight. You need to gain a little bit of poundage there, right? But that's also fine. He's going to be in the 2025 class, which means that he will be on campus at the absolute earliest this January. Plenty of time to gain weight, especially, look, I think a lot of us heard what Billy Napier with Tyler Miles, what the players have said about the strength and conditioning program this past offseason. I'm not super concerned with the kid coming in and gaining weight, especially because he's got time to, like, if you can get up to even 185, 190 by the time that you're on campus, and then just let the strength and conditioning program do its part, you're looking at someone that, well, their size, they're a good size, right? Also, the expectation should not be for him to play immediately right now. Like he could rotate in, but the expectation with what you've got in the safety room right now, the expectation should not be, hey, this guy's going to be an immediate contributor big time. Rotate in, sure. Also, it is important to note that I hate saying this, just honestly, that he is a legacy commit because he is Marcus May's cousin. It's just one of those things where, like, I hate doing that. I don't like to harp on legacies too much anyway, but to say, the cousin, it's just a little bit, not even of a stretch. It's just, I feel like you're asking a lot there when you go cousin was a Gator. But honestly, I think Demetres Samuel Jr., film, like you cut on the film and you go, okay, he could probably play both safety spots. Not that I would necessarily want him there, might be more of a boundary guy in general. But I do think that he can play both safety spots, especially when you look at Florida will be having 2 high safeties, I think, more frequently. Because I think you kind of can do that with the defense being more in place now and just better talent, honestly. So I think that Demetres Samuel Jr. coming in is someone that maybe rotates in 2025, and then 2026 you go, all right, you might be the next man up. Because it's realistic to think that, I think, at least. So I think that adding Demetres Samuel Jr. to your 2025 class gives you the answer to, oh, the Florida Gators don't have a safety committed for 2025. But, and of course, like I said, he is reclassifying. So there's that. He is not technically in the 2025 class yet, if you look at like 24/7 and on 3, but he will be there. But you can go, oh, like, they don't have a safety yet. Now you do. But he's also, first off, adding one safety does not take you out of the running for any other safeties. A lot of times you see 2, even 3 safeties start, because a lot of times the star is a safety. And then you also deal with, they're going to rotate, they're going to play a lot. There's like, it's still going to be a thing. So I think that adding Demetres Samuel Jr. kind of knocks out that they don't have a safety committed for 2025, because he is going to be your safety, your first safety committed for 2025. But you also don't take yourself out of the running for anyone. Bryce Fitzgerald, I feel like I've been very open and consistent with this. To my knowledge, Bryce Fitzgerald wants to be a Miami Hurricane more than he wants to be a Florida Gator, wants to be a Miami Hurricane more than he wants to be any other school, any other mascot at this point in time. But for the time being, Florida, you're still very much in it. And also, like, even if they want to do something now, there's plenty of time to change that, right? So it doesn't take you out of the running for someone like Bryce Fitzgerald, who's damn good. It doesn't take you out of the running for someone like Hilton Stubbs. Hilton Stubbs is someone that we've been talking about for so long here on Locked On Gators. Safety out of Mandarin, initially committed to USC, backed off that commitment. We were like, oh, he's going to probably be a Gator. And then he committed to Miami. I do not buy that he is completely shut down. I can't buy it. It's just not something I will accept. He's someone that if you win games, you get your foot right back in the door for him. And that is important. Win these games, get more commits. I'm not saying that, you go 6-6, 7-5, that every commit's gonna flip to you. I am saying, though, that there are some commits and some recruits that they're gonna see you be better. And coach stability is a big question as well. So if you do enough where you go, yeah, I'm keeping my job, that could be enough to get some kids. That could be enough. Jameer Grimsley talked about it last year where he was like, yeah, like, coach stability is the thing that's kind of turned me off a little bit. I'm just not sure. But wound up here anyway. We are about to talk about the other commit for the 2025 class. We'll get to that next on Locked On Gators. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that you get to first pitch, which is wild. The last time I went to a Mets game, I bought my tickets about 2 hours before the game. I was just like, you know what? Sunny day. I know that there's not going to be any news breaking, or I'm not expecting any news breaking. I'm going to go to the Mets game. They didn't play well. This was before the Grimace Mets. And at this point, I'm scared to go because I think if I go, I might screw up the Grimace Mets luck. So I'm going to back off that. But with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I've told you, I went to see Anita Shabuzi, that Mexican OT, all this summer using Game Time. I bought my tickets for the Miami game using Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets or any other tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And now there's another player to talk about that I think most Florida Gators fans did not know who he was before Grill in the Ville. And I don't blame you because it is Joseph Mbatchou, I think is how it's pronounced, maybe Mbatchou. It's Mbatchou. I will try my best to pronounce it. I apologize if it is wrong. And if anybody knows the proper pronunciation, do feel free to tell me because I hate getting names wrong. We did speak about Joseph Mbatchou the other day. I believe it was Monday's episode. We talked about him with the Grill in the Ville update and some guys that Florida's pushing for and Florida's targeting. Joseph Mbatchou, the reason you've never heard of him is because he has never played varsity football a day in his life. Okay? I made sure to word it intentionally how I worded it for a reason. Because it doesn't bother me that much. And I spoke about this on Monday. Never played varsity football. However, he's going to play defensive line for Grayson, which is a good defensive line producing high school, which those exist. Like you hear about these high schools produce these kids. Like that happens pretty frequently, I think. It's similar to colleges where it's like, yeah, they tend to get these kids. I think college is more prevalent, but it's still a thing in high school, especially when kids transfer a lot. So I think that Joseph Mbatchou, listed as 6'6", 285 pounds right now, played basketball, played soccer. And again, I want to make this abundantly clear because I fully support when Florida Gators fans go, oh, Billy Napier adding the project again that no one wants, the 3-star, the unranked kid, the European, the this, the that. I get it, okay? I don't disagree with you. However, this is one of those instances where I'm not bothered by it. I know when Enoch Wangway committed, I was like, look, this kid needs a lot of weight gain, a lot of development, a lot of this, a lot of that. I wasn't optimistic about it, or at least I don't think I was super optimistic about it. But it's how I felt about the commitment at the time. Joseph Mbatchou, I feel less strongly about in a negative way. I'm not saying that, oh, this is the next Javon Dexter. This is the next Dante Fowler. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is that this is a kid that played basketball and soccer. That tells me that you've got to be at least a bit nimble, agile, right? This is a kid that is playing defensive line for Grayson this year, a good defensive line producing school. Okay? This is a kid that is going to be, your third defensive lineman in the class? I'm not getting up in arms about adding a kid that's going to be D-line 3 in the class. You've got Jalen Wiggins and Jeremiah McLeod already committed at different spots of your defensive line, but along your defensive line, right? 6'6", 285 pounds is an interesting spot. And by that, I mean he's tall. We know that, obviously, and that's not going to change. He can grow, like he can get taller, but we know he's going to be at least 6'6". Okay? 285 pounds is interesting because, we could both be, I guess me and you listening, we could both be 5'11", 180, but we can carry it way differently, right? Everybody can carry weight differently. So 6'6", 285, that could be clean. Like he could just be rocked up completely. He could be, he can have a bit of baby fat on him. He can be completely out of shape looking like there's a lot of different ways to carry weight, right? So depending on how strength and conditioning goes for Joseph Mbatchou, who again is part of the 2025 recruiting class, he is unranked, of course, but is part of the 2025 recruiting class. And yeah, On3 has him listed as 6'6", 285. So depending on how strength and conditioning goes for him, he could wind up long-term as someone that plays the F spot, that Tyreek Sapp, Justice Boone spot. He could play the big end spot, the Joey Slackman, the Caleb Banks, who's also a very tall defensive lineman. In fact, Caleb Banks might be 6'6" as well. I'm pretty sure he is a pretty tall dude. We'll see what he's listed as on the most recent roster update. 6'5" 3/4, 325. So yeah, a pretty big dude. And again, with Joseph Mbatchou, you can assume that they embellished a little bit on the height. Places do that a lot, but does not change that depending on how strength and conditioning goes, he could play the F, that big end spot. Again, the Caleb Banks, the Joey Slackmans, the Kelby Collins. He could play nose tackle. If you bulk him up even more, or you just keep adding a ton of weight, even if you don't want to say bulking up, you could be talking about someone that is playing the Cam Jackson spot, Desmond Watson, Jamari Lyons. You could be talking about people like that with Joseph Mbatchou. But here's the thing again. First off, third D line. Like Jalen Wiggins, Jeremiah McLeod, both two guys that I'm really high on. More so Jeremiah McLeod, just because I think that Jeremiah McLeod, his first step as an interior pass rusher, could be very, very effective. Not sure what his ceiling is, but pass rushing 3-tech, I'm a fan of it. But I mean, Joseph Mbatchou, he could just be the third guy there. Your bottom of the class. Like he could be your lowest ranked player. And depending on how his senior season goes, he could, I'm not going to say become a 5-star, but he could become a 3-star, whether that's a low, high, low 4-star. Like we don't know what he's going to be. But we do know that there are programs that are interested in him simply because they know he's got potential as a big athlete. NFL teams do it. College football teams do it. They go, oh, big athlete, I want you on my team, and I'll trust myself to develop you. That's what Joseph Mbatchou is. And I've said before, I'm fine taking swings on kids that are premium position players that are athletes. That's what Joseph Mbatchou is. If he can be a pass rusher at any spot on the line, we know he's an athlete. We know he's big. I'm fine with taking a swing on a kid like that. I don't think I'll ever have an issue with that. It just doesn't make sense to be upset about that. And again, I understand when people go, oh, like they're bringing in all these projects, all these unknowns, that whatever. I get it, but I'm not going to be mad at it when you're the bottom of the class kid and we've already got kids there. Like adding, an unranked offensive lineman when you don't have an offensive lineman committed at all, that pisses me off. I get it. However, this isn't that. So I'm fine with it. The Florida Gators also added another 2026 commit. We'll get to that next on Locked On Gators. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance with superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your parts guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. And eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators added Devin Jackson earlier in the 2026 class. Big addition there, another blue chip player. Your 2026 class on 24/7 at the time of recording this with Demetres Samuel Jr. still in it is the 5th ranked class. And I'll tell you this, it's not going to be a massive drop off when you remove Demetres Samuel Jr. Or at least I don't think it will be. Right now you're at 90. You've got a sizable gap between you and Georgia right now. Maybe you drop below them, but I don't see you going below Miami, who's 23 points below you. So I don't think that that's going to be as big a concern there. I will say that. Again, it's tough to really look at what you've got when you go, oh, they've still got a guy in there that's going to reclassify. I don't know why they haven't updated it yet, but they haven't. But that's neither here nor there. Devin Jackson, again, a 2026 blue chip player. I am a fan of the addition, of course. I think that, first off, before we even talk about him just alone, you are off to an awesome start for the secondary for 2026. You've got Jalen Waters, who, again, great size, great athlete, or needs to gain a little bit of weight because he's 6'2", 170, but great length, great athlete, physical as hell, competitive as hell. I'm a fan of his film, okay? I'm a fan of Jalen Waters out of Armwood. He's your blue chip corner for the class. Then you've got Devin Jackson now from Orlando, 3-star safety on 24/7. But a composite 4-star safety, right? So you've added the blue chip safety there. 6'2", 185 is what he's listed as. And this is something that you can notice if you look at Florida's DB recruiting. They're looking for tall athletes with long arms. And like Devin Jackson being 6'2", 6'1 and a half, even at 190, 185 pound range, that's great size for, again, a kid. Like I talked about Demetres Samuel, and I was like, yeah, he's got to gain a little bit of weight. Devin Jackson is this size going into his junior year of high school. That's a big kid. And I think Devin Jackson is another one of those safeties that can play both spots. I think Florida having safety in modern football, having safeties that can play both spots really it gives you an advantage. It gives you an advantage when you're trying to plan, trying to scheme, when you're trying to set up your defense for the year. Having safeties that can play both spots is huge. Having safeties that you can go, okay, you've got the physical traits. We're going to make you really smart, because that's what you have to be in these modern defenses. You have to be really smart. You look at the guys that play safety under the Ron Roberts tree, and you're looking at guys that go to the NFL. And I mean, even Louisiana's got Percy Butlers with the Washington Commanders right now. Patrick Toney, who I know, hate him, whatever, in the NFL, coaching safeties, because they run a modern defense that requires safeties to do so much. And so playing safety in these kinds of defenses, playing linebacker in these kinds of defenses require a really high IQ. There's a reason certain safeties really struggle in 2022 when Billy Napier first took over. You need a really high IQ to do it. And so you're adding lengthy guys and you're banking on, hey, we're going to coach you. We're going to coach you to be able to run this defense. And it's a good approach. Honestly, I think safety is one of those spots where you can do that more frequently. I think safety and edge are two spots where you can kind of go, yeah, you're really athletic. We're going to refine you. And it works more often than not. I think corner, you get into issues. I think when you look at off-ball linebacker, you run into issues there. But I think when you look at edge specifically on the D-line and safety, you go, yeah, we got really big athletes. We can coach them up. And as long as they're willing to learn, they're going to be really good. And Devin Jackson, it is important to note that he plays for West Orange, which, if you don't know, West Orange is the same school that coached up Jordan Castell. Okay, just want to throw that one out there. I'm fairly certain Devin Jackson is transferring to West Orange or out of West Orange, but so not necessarily with Jordan Castell so much. But this is that's a school that runs a very similar defense to the Florida Gators. We had Chris Mitchell on the show after Jordan Castell committed to Florida, and he was like, yeah, we run the same defense as Florida. It gives you a leg up. Jordan Castell came in and played immediately, freshman All-American, immediately played the most snaps on the entire defense immediately. I have no problem faulting a lot of the Florida recruiting things, honestly. I think they're not good enough for recruiting some spots. I think they really struggle adding enough talent at some spots. But I do think that they do a good job of going, let's find a kid who does what we do now. And then when we bring him up to the college level, he'll be ready quicker. Like I mentioned it with Chad Gasper, high school running back that's committed right now out of Katy Jordan, committed to Florida for the 2025 class. Had him on the show last week. And we were talking about pistol, because when you're comfortable running out of pistol already, and Florida runs a lot of pistol, you know that you're going to fit in seamlessly. And he even said, yeah, I looked for schools that run offenses similar to Florida because we run an offense similar to Florida. The amount of times I've talked about, this DB that Florida's adding out of high school runs a very similar defense from the one that Florida runs. They're smart. Devin Jackson, great length, decent weight already, can play both safety spots. Your secondary's off to one hell of a start. And also, it's important to acknowledge that with all the veterans that you have in 2024 on the roster, like Florida went into the portal for quite a few veterans at safety. You've got Asa Turner, you've got DJ Douglas, you've got Triquez Bridges is moving to safety out from corner. You went out there and you added multiple safeties. This is not a young safety room right now. It's just not. And that's fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. But you need to add bodies. You need to prepare to have those people replaced, right? Like you look at the defensive back rooms for Florida. Sharif Denson's in the nickel. I'm just going down the roster. Sharif Denson's in the nickel. Jakeem Jackson's boundary corner. Jason Marshall, or outside corner. Jason Marshall, outside corner. Teddy Foster, outside corner. Triquez Bridges, safety / star. DJ Douglas, safety / star. Aaron Gates, anything you need. Jordan Castell, safety. Bryce Thornton, safety. Asa Turner, safety. Josiah Davis, star right now. Cormani McLean, corner. Jameer Grimsley, corner. Deshaun Johnson, corner. Devin Moore, corner. Gregory Smith, safety. Amon Covington, anything you need. Like, you look at what Florida has, and they've got 3 key safeties that are pretty up there. Bryce Thornton and Jordan Castell are both true sophomores at safety, which means Jordan Castell could be gone after the 2025 season. Bryce Thornton could be gone after the 2025 season. If they are, that means you're looking for a replacement in 2026, and you will have them at most 2026 unless injuries happen, which I will knock on wood now. You're going to be needing safeties. Keep adding them. It's a beautiful thing that Florida's doing right now there. It was a good day. Look, it was. I know that there's going to be people that bash the Joseph Mbatchou signing. They're going to bash a reclassified kid. I don't care. Good things are good things. Progress are progress. I'm cool with it. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free by listening to the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more Florida Gators football. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with GiantsCountryofSI.com and find our YouTube dynasties for College Football 25 with Whole Nine Sports, WHOLENINE Sports on YouTube. Just saying, and I will see you all next time.